Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Hi guys.
We are on episode 9 of the Alpha Primal Podcast.
Alpha Primal Podcast.
Last week, we talked about the 10 primal blueprint laws.
I can see how you can get
Yes,
confused.
lots of primes.
Lots of primals.
So if you're interested
All
in that, check back at last week's episode. Also wanted to check in. I did my first week of Patrick's programming for me.
Great.
I did 3 workouts. I still have one more to hopefully do today.
Do today.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's a hopefully to do today. No, she's been doing great. It's
And
been fun.
when I've been at home and Patrick's been home too, he likes to offer his critiques.
I'm a trainer. It's not critiquing, I'm personal training.
But it's been going good. Been a little sore, which is as expected. Haven't worked out
It's
in
very difficult.
over 2 months, so
Husband and trainer. It's very difficult.
I'm sure. But
Husband to trainer. You have to look at me 2 different ways.
we're working it out. We're getting
She's working it out. She is doing well.
True.
She's doing very
So
well.
one more, and then moving on to week number 2. So if you are starting them, if you've done any of them or want to do any of them, let us know, and we can join you into the group and share the workouts with you.
At any point. I mean, honestly, this is one of those things where it's sort of like it's 6 weeks. It's meant for you. It's meant for if you want to use. It's meant for Ashley, but it's meant to help anybody out there as well. A beginner type program. So you can start it at any time. You don't have to be following along day by day with whenever Ashley's doing it. She's plugging it into her day and her week when she can. We both, through working and through with Arden, it's a little bit harder. It's she's fitting her workouts in when she can. So don't feel like it's I have to be doing exactly what Ashley's doing. It's meant to be plugged in whenever you can make it happen. So, try it out whenever you get the chance.
Also wanted to share with you one of the recipes we're making for this week.
Yes.
We're making chicken and wild rice
Love
soup.
soups.
Patrick's favorite is soup, so we have it going in the Instapot.
In the wintertime. Soups.
Pretty easy. Throw everything in the Instapot, turn it on for half an hour, and boom, you got
Boom,
your
done.
soup.
Boom soup.
So let's get started with today's episode. We're talking about specializing and overtraining. So what are we talking about first?
So I want to talk a little bit, something that I've been running into a lot more with consultations that I've been running into, people that I've been talking to more and more is over-specialization. We happen to just get into this routine, and I understand we like to do things that we're good at, and when we start doing one exercise or one style of exercise, and we just continually do it over and over because we start getting good at it and we start getting successful with it, and that just leads to sometimes injury, sometimes stress, or just burning out and fading out. So what I've tried to encourage a lot of my clients to start looking into and start doing is not trying to specialize too much. So if it's like
running all the time or biking all the time or just only doing weights all the time and not incorporating other things.
Right. Well, understanding what your goals truly are. I mean, it was a lot of times someone will come into me and say, I'm looking to lose weight and tone up. I'm like, okay, what are you trying to do? I'm going to do the treadmill, 3-4 times, and great. You're doing it 3-4 times a week, but it's like, are you training to do a walk? Because that's what you're showing me. If you're training, I don't know if you're special or if your goal is matching your training. If your goal is to lose weight, well, let's figure out fun ways to challenge your body to keep it physically healthy, and not worry about doing something that you don't want to do, something that's boring, something that you read about, worked for, some celebrity somewhere in this magazine that I read. You want to make sure that your goals are always matching your, easy over there, Tiger. Jeez. You want to make sure your goals are always matching your exercise. Um, Again, I really try to emphasize to people that injury is a big, or staying healthy is a big part of this continuous journey. Um, I can't I can't continue to move my body the way I want it to move if I'm in a constant state of hurt, if I'm in a constant state of injury or fear of injury. So I try to get people to explore different areas of movement. Um, I really like to break movement patterns down or movement into several different categories. The first one definitely being learned. So, whatever activity you're starting to do, you always have to learn the proper technique. Whether it be walking on the treadmill, the elliptical, I mean, these are foreign things to our body that we're not used to. We have to learn how to use those pieces of equipment. Um, and then it can go into the skills of exercise, playing game or like learning the games of track and field, basketball, baseball, whatever have you. CrossFit, that's a great thing because you definitely have to. There's plenty of skills that you have to learn in CrossFit. Um, I do generally like the idea of CrossFit, but again, it gets where it gets dicey with me is too many people try to get in there and start specializing. Your body is not meant to do a butterfly pull up. It's not. I'm sorry. That's horrible for your shoulders. If you can do it once in a great while, cool. Like you have learned a skill that is interesting.
I think also with CrossFit too that it's some people do overtraining because it is such an intense workout
Right.
that they do it too many times a week, and it puts a lot of stress on your body.
Well, you were telling me I think one of the conversations that we had while we were going to CrossFit is you felt bad on the days you
Miss.
missed because you were like, oh, I'm not going to hit that muscle group or I'm not going to hit that workout.
Right. So I would go in the next day and try to do that workout and the workout from the day before.
You were trying to do 2 days, two workouts
At
in
least
one
the
day.
strength. So I
Mm,
was
kept
building
up
up my
with the
strength.
strength. I mean, that's
It's
that's a
kind of
lot.
a mentality thing
Right, and
too.
and and I get it, and it's an infectious mindset, and
Obsessive.
it
Almost.
obsessive mindset, but it is an infectious mindset because you do have a community, and I love that's why I like this group, this Alpha Primal group that we start. I want to create that community around health and around fitness. I think that's really really important. Um, you know, we always create communities around these hobbies. Well, fitness should be a hobby for everybody. Any type of fitness, any type of movement should be a hobby in everybody's life in some manner of speaking. So why how, that's the community aspect that I would like to bring to the fitness industry, but I digress. That's what I think CrossFit has done very well. That's where I was trying to get at. Like I think CrossFit has done very well with creating that community, and likewise with all those classes. I think Zumba does a great job. Those Zumba classes do a great job. The aerobics classes at your local community fitness centers. You have that community feel, and you enjoy talking to them. But again, if you're good at Zumba and you know the routine every single time you're going in there, you're not doing much in the way of
Challenging.
right.
Changing it up.
Right.
Working different muscles.
Or even learning. You're not learning anything anymore. You're not playing. It's literally, I know I'm going to sweat because I am elevating my heart rate, but I'm not working any other pathways, whether it be mental, physical, emotional. I'm not working any other pathways. And that's where I try to warn what I try to warn people against. Because again, after a certain amount of time, whether it be a year, whether it be 2 years, whether you do that same Zumba thing for 10 years, you're gonna get bored. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get injured. You can't tell me that doing this one movement pattern or this one style of exercise for the rest of your life is not going to have a impact on you in some way, a repetitive injury impact on you in some way.
Yeah.
Or you'll just get stuck in this mental rut, and that's part of what happens as well. So I really try to change things up, and this is, again, this is in my routine. I always want to put that out there. This is always my routine. This is something that I've grown to sort of cultivate in myself and some of the clientele that I've worked with in the past. But I really like to start people off with that learning aspect. Learn the movements, learn the exercises, and then let's move into an area of movement, or a mindset of movement of play. Let's now take that movement that we just learned the correct way, and now let's add it into a game type setting. And again, where I feel like a lot of people sort of fall short in this is when they go into a workout routine, like they may be changing it up where they get in there and they do cardio for 15 minutes, and then they go to the weight machines and do some weight exercises and resistance stuff, and then they do some flexibility, and that's good. That's a great overall routine, but you're not playing with it. You're not learning new movement patterns, and you're not playing with those movement patterns to challenge your body in that way. So I keep going back to it, you get into this repetitive injury, repetitive movement type of.
So that was my next question. What happens when you do over specialize? What do you see?
Okay, so
what are the negative effects of specializing in one thing?
Yeah. So I'm always going to say you're always going to have exceptions to this rule. So I get comments, well, my sister's been doing marathons for 40 years and is crushing it and doing great. And I'm like, awesome. That's fantastic. Like, I think that's that's great. I mean, there are plenty of people there. There's that UFC fighter who's who's 40 years old, and he's that ageless Tom Brady, who there are people who defy the logic, and I get that.
Yeah. They're not the norm.
They're not the norm, and
you can't compare yourself to them.
And everybody may have that potential in some aspect. It may not be in running, but you have to play around with it until you maybe find that, and you're not going to find it the first time, the second time, the fifth time. It's not going to happen that quickly. So I just wanted to put that out there first. I always know that there are going to be exceptions to the rule. This isn't talking to the exceptions. Most of the time, what happens when you over specialize is you're going to get into a what's called a repetitive stress injury, or stress fractures happen. The muscle will be firing in one way, or not firing enough in another way. The joint there may be a little bit of friction in the joint, where that over time just causes wear and tear on the joints. So that's the main thing that happens with overstress injury, but then or over specialization. But then again, another big thing is that stuck in the rut type of mentality and mindset. There are exceptions to the rule who continually challenge, and I guarantee those people who are doing those marathons for 40 years are continuously challenging themselves. They're continuously pushing themselves. It's not like they get out of bed and they're like, oh, I mean, I'm sure there are times where they get out of bed and they're like, oh, I got a 5-mile run today, I got a 10-mile run today. But then I'm sure they have a community around them, or a mindset, a different mindset, where it's they're going to get on the pavement and challenge them. They're going to get on the asphalt and challenge themselves.
But wouldn't you say, as an argument to someone who does overtrain or over-specialize, that if they did work on other type of workouts, like adding, so say someone that runs all the time, if they did start incorporating a lot of strength or flexibility, yoga, wouldn't that make them a better runner?
100%. 100%, and I wish I would have known that earlier in my
So
career.
a benefit of not over specializing or training can make you better at the thing that you like.
100%. 100. And like I said, I wish, again, always speaking from personal experience, I wish I would have known that earlier in my career. I didn't start doing yoga until my senior year of college. And this was my last, I had one more year of eligibility in track. I'm sorry, no, it was my junior year because I hurt myself my sophomore year. So I had to redshirt. And then coming back my junior year is when I started just trying to revamp everything and start adding in a lot more and getting away from that specialization, that injury that happened to me. So I started doing yoga, and I don't know, my performance I did very well my last couple of years at in track. So I was very happy with the results of it, but I wish I would have done something earlier. I wish I could have spoon fed this to the 18-year-old kid in me because it does help. And
Isn't there that one like baseball player that did like Pilates that got a whole bunch of people
oh
on?
yeah, oh yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger did ballet. I mean, the biggest guys you see, those big Mr. Olympia competitors. I mean, yeah, you want to look like those guys, but those guys are extremely, extremely flexible. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we want to be like these people, but we're not willing to put in I'm not saying the amount of work because they do. They take it to the extreme and they put in a lot of work, but we're not willing to put in the right amount of work because it may be boring. I mean, sitting there and doing some of the exercises that you see me doing, I get it. It can be boring and you don't feel like you're getting a good workout in this half an hour time period that I have to work out. I have a half hour. I want to feel like I'm sweating. Great, but maybe that's not what your body needs today. I'm not saying it's not what your body needs ever, but maybe that's not what your body needs today. So let's focus on something a little bit slower. Let's focus on correcting some of the overuse exercises or overuse injuries that we may have done. So it really takes that higher level of thinking. It really is. It's a higher level of knowing yourself and understanding. Today, I have to dial it back. I have to do yoga. I have to do this animal flow. I have to do this Pilates. I have to do something that engages my rhythm. Learn a different rhythm or movement pattern. I always love dancing. I'll throw dance steps in between my exercises, in between my lifts as I'm doing strength training, just to get fun and play in my routine again. And if during that time I happen to trip over my feet, I laugh it off and I'm like, I'm not as nimble on my feet as I thought I was, so I got to continue doing something and play a little bit more with it. So yeah, I get off on tangents, but yeah, I mean that's truly the mindset that you got to get into though. It's this playing mindset. It's not this head down, get in, get out, you know, bing bang boom type of mindset. It's like, what does my body need today? If it's not a run, what is it that it needs today? If it's not a run and it's a swim, I can still get a great workout doing a swim, and it's a lot less impact on my body. So I mean, you just gotta. I think we need to start taking a step back and understand that there is a huge, huge world of movement and exercise to our disposal, and it should never be boring, and it should never hurt, and it should never feel like I'm overtraining.
You can find a movement or a workout schedule or plan that is fun for you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be daunting.
It doesn't have to be daunting. It doesn't have to be intimidating, and it doesn't have to be something like that you dread doing.
Right. There's so many different of those classes out there. UFC, boxing. There's those cycle classes. I mean, there's so many things out there.
Yeah,
that
I
you
love hot
can
yoga. I love
try
hot yoga.
all different
I don't
types
do
of
enough of
things.
it. I mean, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, go class hopping. Yeah, absolutely, go class hopping. For those who are more interested, there's a guy that I've been following, and he was actually on the Joe Rogan podcast. I listen to that all the time, whenever I can. But his name was Faraz Zahabi, and he trains a lot of UFC fighters, and he was someone who dives a lot into this subject, and someone that I listen to very closely, and got me starting to do a lot of my prescription, my training for myself, as well as prescribing other training for my clients and everything like that, is off of workout percentage basis. So
What does that mean?
Working off of, like, we all understand that there's a heart rate, and there's a resting heart rate, and then there's maximum heart rate, and I don't think a lot of us understand that we can work percentages of those heart rates, or percentages of our strength. So we take a max lift, and then any lift that you do when you're creating a program is a percentage of that max lift. Or, like I said, the max heart rate. Anytime I want to get someone into a specific target heart rate zone, you have to get to a percentage of that max heart rate. So the big thing that he's always talking about is how he never trains, or he never trains to the point where he gets himself sore. And that's what I hear a lot of. And I know you said that at the beginning of these podcast here that you were a little bit sore from the workouts that we did. And you're the type of person who understands that soreness and can move sort of through that soreness, but a lot of people can't, and don't know what that is, and don't want to exercise through that soreness. So when they do an exercise routine on Monday, and then they're sore Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then they don't, or Tuesday, Wednesday especially, and then Thursday they can do another exercise routine. Well, they've taken 2 to 3 days off, and you've gotten in another workout, if not 2 workouts within that time. So he talks a lot about working your percentages. So if I'm working to the point where I'm going 100% and I get to a red line, and I'm working 100% and I'm really, really sore that next day, well, I'm not going to be able to move. I'm not going to be able to do another squat. I'm not going to be able to do another push-up. But if I so if I can only do 10 push-ups, let's say, my maximum set is 10 push-ups. Let's keep it a nice, even, round number. If my maximum push-ups is 10 push-ups, well, during my workout, I'm not going to prescribe myself 10 push-ups or 8 push-ups. I'm going to prescribe myself 5 push-ups. That's 50%. That's a good amount of push-ups. But then tomorrow, I can come back and do 5 more push-ups. And then Wednesday, I can come back and do 5 more push-ups. And by the time Thursday comes back around, when you're ready to do push-ups again, since you've done 10, I've done 15 within that time. But again, it's that mindset of less is more, and we need to get into that mindset again. I think we really do need to get into that mindset and understand the percentage that we're working.
So you don't always have to go hardcore.
Right.
Max out. And that's kind of like what we were talking about last week too with the Primal Blueprint, about sprinting once in a while, doing that hardcore workout only once in a while.
Right.
Other times just moving frequently, doing strength training, but not going to that max effort.
Right. And you're absolutely right. I mean, a couple of the people that I'm working with currently, they're like, I work. Their week is split up into 2. Their week looks completely different. They're 2 different styles of workout, look completely different. There's their workouts when they're in the office, because they have a gym in the office. So there's the workout that they can do within that 5-day period that they have in the week, and then they have 2 workouts on the weekend. That's more of a body weight circuit, a completely different style of workout, completely different movements that they're doing. But during the week, it's not meant to get you're not meant to be sweaty because he still has to work out, warm up, work out, and then get back to work and be presentable for work. So it's like, okay, you're going to do some movement patterns, then you're going to lift heavy objects. You're going to do some strength training. That's what you're going to do because you're not necessarily getting your heart rate jacked up. And that's not what it's meant for. It's meant to do resistance training. It's meant to keep your heart rate relatively down. Maybe you'll get it up while you're doing the working set, but bring it back down and lift heavy objects. On the weekend, cardio, jumping, plyometric style working, animal flow style working your whole body.
Getting your heart rate
Get your
up.
heart rate up, and that works for him then. But to sit there and say that, oh, I'm on a program where I have to do this, well, now it takes that time that he likes to spend, even when he's working out, being at home and with his family. Now he has to take that hour and or 2 hours, go to the gym, do his warm up, do his strength training, because that's the box that this person or this program has put me in. I have to get to the gym to do my workout. Where if you just talk to a professional, talk to a personal professional, not a program that's done, for everybody. Talk to somebody that can personalize a program for you, and that's the benefits of personalized programming. It allows him to get that strength training in that he wants, but then also he wants to be able to do rec league sports and play basketball. You're not going to get that from just doing strength training and being in the gym. You're going to get that through playing basketball, running, doing plyometric exercises. So, I mean, I really want people to get out of these boxes of over specializing. Stuck in this one. I'm in this type of program. That's all I can do. I like to bike, so that's the only type of exercise I can do. Well, if you like to bike, let's put together a program that allows you to bike a lot, but do other parts that are beneficial to your body,
right.
and that will allow you to bike for as long as you want to bike. Do it forever. If you do this, if you do this other stuff, you can do this forever. And that's it drives me nuts when I hear, and I get it. People love to do it. But it drives me nuts when it's like, I can help you. I can teach you to do that so much more efficiently, so much better, without the fear or without these couple of days or couple of weeks or a couple of months where you have had to pull yourself out of that because you've hurt yourself and you're just resting it off, that's one of my emotional pet peeves. if you can't tell.
Passionate.
I mean, it is, because I'm very passionate about this, because I do think one of the biggest parts of programs that I've seen personal trainers put their clients on, programs that I've seen people get into, family members get into, is just this bubble. I'm only going to work in this one little bubble, and that's the only bubble that I'm going to work in, when there's just so many other avenues that we can do to make sure that bubble is better and stronger and better than you can ever imagine. So that's yeah.
And rant. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. So that's what I say. Get out there, talk to people, try new things, learn new things, play around with those things.
Challenge your body in different ways.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that's pretty good for today.
Next week, we're going to talk about intermittent fasting.
Huge. This is a big passion of mine too. You're going to hear me rant.
And we might incorporate some other stuff in there, but mainly it's going to be about that. So if you're interested in intermittent fasting, you don't know what it is, or you want to learn more about it to see if it's right for you, check out next episode. That will be number 10.
Number 10. We're in the double digits. We'll have to do something. I think we have to have some sort of giveaway at the end of our 10th episode.
Okay.
Right? I mean, we got
So you better listen.
Yeah, we got stuff to give away. Yeah, Look, okay, we can start doing some sort of like primal ingredient stuff.
Okay.
Start with that, and then eventually I want to get into these. Look, you got to show people your T-shirt. Look at that!
Pretty
Look at that logo. It's a badass logo. Created it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you next week.
All right, thank you guys.
Bye.
Have a great Sunday.